2024 is coming to an end, and for me, this year had plenty of games that I love to play. And we previously just did my favorite AAA big company games video of the year, but now it's time to show some love to the indie games. Because believe it or not, and you should be believing at this point, indie games to me kind of carried the year when it comes to creativity, new experiences, and dope games. And this year is no different. 2024 had some of my favorite indie games, and there were a lot of them that I like, so I can't talk about all of them, but we got to get into it. What's good, everybody? It's Blue Satire, and again, I appreciate y'all for watching the last video about my favorite games, and I appreciate y'all that let me know what some of your games were. But now I want to know, what were some of your favorite indie games in 2024? And I believe there was a bunch of different titles that anyone can enjoy, and that was my favorite thing about it. And my list probably leans toward a certain way, but nonetheless, there were a lot of games that I like, a lot of games that brought me back, and a lot of games that look toward the future. So without further ado, let's get into some of my favorite indie games of 2024. Now, let me start off by getting this game out the way, because we all know this is probably my favorite indie game of the year, and a lot of people's favorite indie game of the year. One that people did not expect to sink so much time. So many people are addicted to Balatro, or Balatro, whatever that man said the name of this game was. I call it Balatro, that's what I'm gonna call it. But the endless possibilities and gameplay of this game, the loop of the deck builder roguelike, it's like playing poker but Hades, and you need to power up your jokers, planet cards, tarot cards, voucher cards to help improve your deck. It is so fun and interesting in the ways that you can win in this game, and discovering new ways and giving new challenges to you as you try to beat it. And it's so fun, and like you'll be like, one more round, bet. 3 hours later, one more round, bet. But Balatro, I gotta go ahead and put this here because y'all already knew this was one of my favorite games. But another game that I feel doesn't get enough love, and it came out early in the year, was Penny's Big Breakaway. And in this game, you join Penny and the Yo-Yo in a kinetic 3D platformer that has a lot of innovative gameplay, and you have to do a bunch of tricks. That's how you get through the level. That's how you get new power-ups. That's how you progress through the level. And it reminds me of old school Sonic. It feels like a Dreamcast game in 2024. The gameplay is kind of like high-speed platforming, but also got like a little bit of tempo run because these penguins are chasing you like mostly through the level, and when you get caught, you slow down a little bit. And what I like about it is the speed in the game. It's one of those games that you want to kind of learn the levels and go back and speed run, because you might find something different or a different way to complete the level. But the way you interact with the Yo-Yo, the new power-ups, the music, the level design, the way it looks, it all is dope. And if you haven't played Penny's Big Breakaway, you definitely should try it out. Now, we just talked about a game that reminds me of the Dreamcast era, but what about a game that reminds me of old school N64, PS1 graphics and gameplay? And I'm not the person that plays a lot of horror or survival games like that, but I do like Resident Evil. And Crow Country feels just like old school Resident Evil, but with modern controls. It feels like it was made today, but looks like a game of yesterday. And I think that is dope. It gives me feelings of eerie and stuff like Resident Evil and Silent Hill, but the way it looked just takes me back. And the level design is also great in here, and you feel a little bit of fear in this game, but also it just looks good, and it looks like, again, it reminds me of playing an N64 but made in 2024 controls and graphics, which is kind of dope. So make sure y'all check out Crow Country. Now, I know I just said I don't usually play survival horror games, but this next one was something different. Pacific Drive is a first-person driving survival game with your car as the only person and only companion that you have. And it's like a reimagining of the Pacific Northwest. It's a bunch of supernatural dangers that get to you in these excursion zones, and you gotta like survive that zone for the night. You gotta go craft materials, repair your car, make sure your car is good. It's like a storm chaser type thing. You gotta outrun the storm, a bunch of like shadowy figures, and it's kind of spooky, but the music and the atmosphere of the game actually adds to that. And everything from starting your car, parking your car, changing your tire, all this different stuff and investigating. It's a very good game for something so simple as driving this old station wagon in this kind of lonely world, but it's you and your car and that person on the radio. But it's a different experience, and kind of like, dare I say it's like a cozy vibe, but also it's kind of creepy. let's take it back again with another indie game that gave me feels of one of my favorite franchises. Berserk Boy. If you're a Mega Man fan or any 2D side-scrolling platforming goodness, then Berserk Boy is for you. And again, it's one of those slick, stylish platformer games inspired by old school, but feels modern age with the way the controls are. Berserk Boy is very fast. I feel like it's more focused on melee combat versus shooting your Mega Buster or something like that. But it's very high speed. And the thing I like about it is it has those classic feels of classic music, power-ups. When you defeat a boss, you get a new power-up. And the power-ups are just dope. Like, you got orbs like lightning, fire, earth, air, ice. Like, it's so many ways that you can win and so many ways that you can progress the level, but it's just fun, fast, and something fresh, but also something that reminds you of good times with old school Mega Man. And we need some more Mega Man in the future, right? Another game that I rocked with, Tales of Kenizawa Zao. Another game that I enjoyed this year was one that was really personal to the person who made it. Shout out to Abubakar Salim, who made a great game in dedication to his father, but it was a Metroidvania that I did enjoy. The gameplay was cool. While it's his first attempt at making the game to honor his dad, talking about grief and loss and things like that, the gameplay was cool. Now, it did have some stiff competition with other Metroidvanias that came out this year, but because of his personal journey and the way that he handled that, and on top of all the stuff that he went through online, the harassment, people trying to talk mess about it, it was a dope game. But at the end of the day, someone made a game that was personal to them, and it was a good game for me, and it was dope seeing that side of the game, because that's what gaming is all about. Making stories, making games that you can relate to, and that's one that a lot of people can relate to, a journey about handling loss and grief. Another game I really enjoyed was a narrative-based game and a sequel to another game that was very popular, and that is Read Only Memories Neurodiver. And it's a story-rich adventure and a sequel to the game I said earlier, 2064 Read Only Memories. And the point-and-click game is kind of dope. Like, you walk around in this pixel art that reminds you of like a 90s anime, 80s anime. And they even got the cutscenes that you see at certain animes where it goes commercial and be like, Full Metal Alchemist, Full Metal Alchemist. Like, that's dope to me. On top of a great soundtrack, on top of the Neurodive, being able to lock into people's memories to solve cases and solve clues and find things out. You learn a lot about these characters. The voice acting is good, and the retro FM synth music in this game goes so great with the gameplay. The pixel art again is just beautiful, and the backgrounds and the characters are dope. And it's a dope game, and it was a game I thoroughly enjoyed and that you should all check out. If y'all know me, y'all know I love a farm sim. But for me also, if you know me, you got to do something different if I'm going to play it again. And Sunnyside does just that. Sunnyside is a more modern take on the farm life. And it's set in the Japanese countryside. And not only do you have things like a water hose, or you got stores, you got bikes, you got vehicles. It's just modernized farming, but also it feels like an anime that you're playing. It's like an anime farm game, and you get to meet new people, learn about their lives. You got a cell phone. It's all types of things that makes it seem like it's more futuristic, which we don't see a lot in farm sims. You create your own character. It's a good little vibe. The music is cool, but the thing about it is very chill. It's very different from other farming games because they have a lot more things, a lot of different seeds, a lot of ways to get to know people, a lot of festivals. Everybody's different, have their own schedules. And it also has some dungeon crawling in it that's kind of like Persona-ish in a sense, as far as the fighting and the way it looks and presented. But it's a chill game, and I definitely did enjoy it. Keeping it on the farm sim side, I gotta talk about Fields of Mystria. Definitely one of my favorite games, and it's in early access, but even in early access, it provided a lot of fun for me. A lot of folks will see that it looks like a little bit like Stardew, but it has its own charm. And y'all know I can't talk about farm sims without saying, make sure y'all show some love to the OG Harvest Moon Story of Seasons, because without that, we wouldn't have Stardew, wouldn't have any of these games. But also, Fields of Mystria has a little bit more magic focus. I love the conversations. I love the people that have their schedules and things. It also looks like a Sailor Moon-ish 90s anime inspired pixel art game with farming, and the way people just go about their day, people's schedule, the conversations that you can have with folks, I think it's cool, and I think it's going to be even better once it's fully released. But I did enjoy it, and there is a lot of fun in Fields of Mystria. One of my favorite games of the year. A lot of folks have been on that cozy trip, and Fields of Mystria is one of those cozy games you definitely will enjoy. Speaking of early access, one of my favorite games. And look, the first Hades was a legend, but Hades 2 is already a great game that's still in early access, but still has so much content, maybe even twice the amount of content as Hades. It is not even done yet, but you wouldn't be able to tell. The gameplay is still good. The new weapons, the new boons and abilities you get. So many, you know, I love a good roguelike where there's so many different ways I can play, so many different builds I can make to explore the game and get the story. The voice acting is good. The characters all still look good. You know what I'm saying? And it's just one of those games that somehow improved even greater than the first game. Hades was such a big hit. Hades 2 is continuing that phenomenon, and it's also just a very good game that's not even fully out yet. Just wait till it hit consoles. But Hades 2 is just one of those ones that's one of my favorite games of the year. And when I'm gonna end this list off, because again, I could talk all day about indie games. But again, that is all for me. Let me know how you felt about these games that I listed, and let me know some of your favorite indie games, because there are way too many and so many more that I played that I enjoyed. But these are just some of the ones I really wanted folks to know that I enjoyed. So let me know in the comment section what indie games you enjoyed, and I'll see y'all next year for the next video. If you got any ideas what you want to see me talk about, let me know. But that's all from me. Y'all have a good one, and I appreciate y'all always. Bye-bye.